Okay, hello and welcome to today's event. I'm Jason Gumpert from msdynamicsworld.com. I'm pleased to welcome everyone today to this session all about partner success with Dynamics 365 Business Central. I'm happy to introduce our presenters today, returning speakers who we're glad to have back, Dave Wallen and Scott May from Velosio. It's great to have them with us.
Thanks, Jason. Can you hear me?
We can.
All right, great. So yes, thanks everybody. We're so glad you're here today. First, some kind of more detail on our introduction. So Scott is the Velosio Director of Channel Programs. Scott began his career in the ERP world in 1988, actually, with Solomon Software, which was later acquired by Microsoft. And he's operated in the Microsoft ERP space ever since, holding a variety of sales, channel, and customer service positions for the past 15 years or so. He's primarily been focused on partner management and enablement, and he's helped hundreds of partners build and grow their businesses. And he manages all of our partner programs, our SCA Cloud Solution Provider program, as well as our Dynamics Master VAR program. So, Scott, say hi to everyone.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
And as you said, my name is Dave Wallen. I'm the Vice President of Product and Channel Marketing at Velosio. I've held selling and marketing positions in the Microsoft channel since 1999, first on the platform side, focusing on collaboration and communication solutions like Exchange and SharePoint, and then moving into the Dynamics world, working for both resellers and ISV, and now in the Cloud Distribution Partner Program. In my role, I manage our two-partner and through-partner programs, as well as marketing for our ISV solutions and our AppSource-based services. So, for those of you who are not familiar with the name Velosio, our legacy in the Dynamics world is strong. Velosio was created in the beginning of this year through the combination of Socius, SBS Group, and Plumline Consulting. Our tagline, "What's Your Next?" kind of describes the mission of Velosio, because every day we wake up helping our partners go from what is to what's possible. And what's your next embodies that philosophy and really is about focusing on what's in your future. This is a world of unprecedented change and disruption, and somewhere in the world there's somebody trying to figure out how to upset our industry, disrupt our businesses, and getting to next is what's going to separate you from the competition, and we are the platform to enable you to make that move today with a focus on what's most important about that journey, and that's you. We like to think that, especially in the Dynamics 365 world, we are the partner's partner for success. We are the only North American partner authorized as both an indirect CSP distributor and a Dynamics Master VAR, and we provide a lot of great programs and solutions for resellers and ISVs. So I want to start out with this slide. This is kind of the theme. It's Microsoft's digital transformation theme. It's kind of the theme of what we in our business have to do. Satya Nadella said, our industry does not respect tradition. It only respects innovation. And to that, I would add our corollary is customers do not reward tradition. They're only going to reward innovation and innovation that drives value. So when we kind of look at what our agenda is for today, about focusing on how partners can position themselves, take advantage of the Dynamics 365 Business Central opportunity. We're going to look at how you need to evolve as a partner. We're going to introduce what we call the Move to Modern Action Plan. Look at some Microsoft self-serve assets to help you kind of get through that plan. But really, we're teasing all of this to introduce this concept of the ready-to-go workshop opportunity. Microsoft is providing funding for Velosio and the Stratus Cloud Alliance to provide a number of training programs, and Scott's going to go into detail of those at the end. So, what we're really talking about today is why you want to make this move, what you need to do, what actions you need to take, what Microsoft is going to let you do on your own, but also how we and Microsoft can help you make that move to modern and take advantage of the Business Central opportunity. So first, the opportunity itself, and I really like this slide that we're showing here that Microsoft provided for us. So often you see these slats on the cloud opportunity, and it's $8 zillion over the next 20 years, and what does that really mean to me? So this is this is specific. This is the opportunity in this fiscal year, so the next 11 and a half months, for Dynamics partners who service the SMB market. It is a $1 billion opportunity, and it's $1 billion opportunity that's only open to a certain number of people, right? I mean, there are more people that are going to be selling Dynamics than the traditional Dynamics channel. We'll be talking about that, but this is the opportunity. We're the people that have the opportunity to capitalize on this. And so I think for most of you, this is kind of a review, but there may be some of you who are new to Dynamics 365, so I want to do a quick overview. Dynamics 365 Business Central, or BC as we refer to it, is Microsoft's next generation of intelligent business applications in the cloud. What makes it unique is it really harnesses the power of one Microsoft for the SMB space. There's deep integration with Office 365, and that really brings together the concept of the two worlds of business process and personal productivity in one platform. The idea is that you can leverage familiar tools like Excel and Word and Outlook within the context of your business processes. It significantly increases productivity and user adoption. Power BI and Cortana are natively embedded into it, and you're providing that predictive intelligence. And now Azure IoT, for those of you who are paying attention to what was going on in Inspire, is certainly going to be a key area of focus. It brings together device independent data to enable kind of preemptive action in business functions like field service. The app platform, what Microsoft called the Power Suite, allows, even with Flow, even end users to build their own workflows and improve productivity that way, but it certainly gives partners that opportunities with Power Apps and Power BI to really add value to the platform. And, then there's AppSource, and we'll be talking a lot more about that, but as that central marketplace for Microsoft Cloud Solutions, for partner cloud solutions, and for customers to find them. And, it is that platform story that's the big differentiator for Dynamics 365 BC, and that's the opportunity for partners. Selling BC out of the box with just configuration is not a viable business model unless you have enormous scale. Can Best Buy build a practice that way? Absolutely. But a typical partner will not going to be able to streamline the commodity level configuration service costs or the sales costs and marketing costs to compete with these larger organizations just on price without adding value. What you need to do is start with BC, leverage all these elements of the Microsoft Intelligent Cloud, the other Dynamics 365 services, Office 365, Azure, ISV solutions that on AppSource that you partner with, as well as your own business and technical IP to create targeted high-value solutions that will drive recurring revenue at higher margins. And when we say IP, this is not just bits IP, it's also your domain expertise, your knowledge of the industry, and we'll talk more about how you can bundle those things into high-value solutions to bring to market and drive revenue. So, what are the things we need to do to evolve as a partner, and why do we need to evolve as a partner? First is really that the channel itself has changed, and we talk about this a lot in some prior webcasts. But partners in the past always focused on particular workloads, industries, or domains, and identify themselves, kind of by their Microsoft competencies, right? I'm an ERP partner, I'm a CRM partner, I'm an infrastructure partner, I'm a BI person, I'm app platform, whatever, or identify themselves by business model, earning partners. I'm an SI because I don't really care about license revenue, or I'm a VAR because I really do care about license revenue, or I'm an MSP, or I'm an ISV. But, over the past couple of years, Microsoft has really broken down those walls, especially in the SMB space, through the introduction of the CSP program, which enabled any partner to resell most Dynamics 365 SKUs, and now through the continuing evolution of the One Commercial Partner Program. The name tells it all, right? And we cover a lot of this in a webinar last month on what we called Meeting the Microsoft FY19 Challenge, and you can view that on demand in MS Dynamics World. But the bottom line is that Microsoft is now all in on driving cloud consumption, and with the numbers they just got in their earnings calls, they're going to continue on that. That strategy is not changing. So to stay relevant as a partner, you need to orient yourself that way and your business that way, and think about what you're doing, that how is this going to drive cloud consumption for Microsoft? Because that's what they're going to care about, and that's where the market is going. And the bottom line about that is that CSP, the Cloud Solution Provider program, you've got to participate. We covered a lot of detail about CSP in a white paper we published with MS Dynamics World and on our website called Demystifying the CSP Program. And most of the time you read content on CSP, it's really focused on that Office or Azure partner. Our paper was written with the Dynamics partner in mind. So if you haven't explored CSP or you need more information on it, this is the time you're really going to evaluate. Please, highly recommend you download it either from our Stratos Cloud Alliance website or from the MS Dynamics World website. Get all the information you need on CSP. And, in the case of Business Central, we're going to go into some detail on this stuff later, but, Microsoft sometimes has not given us all the resources that we think we need to take advantage of opportunities or to make changes in our business. In this case, they really are. There's a lot. If you go to the Yammer sites, if you go to some of the Dynamics resources, you'll see a lot of content and a lot of ways to connect to learn more about BC. They are providing good and strong tools for developing that IP and getting it on AppSource and providing AppSource itself and tools to help you do that. And the partner, certainly the Dynamics Partner Programs and MPN as well, are providing a lot of good quality training, resources, marketing content, all of that to get to Dynamics BC. And we'll be talking about more of that as we go along. So, I've talked about AppSource a few times. Really want to focus on this because it is of huge importance going forward. It's meant to be the destination for solutions, and it's right now it is not as important as it will be because as a marketplace, it's kind of a general marketplace for people to go and search for stuff, and that's where it's acting now. But it's got the built-in capability that when you are in an app, so if I'm in Business Central and I'm looking for capabilities as a customer, I go straight to the AppSource Marketplace and can download services, solutions directly into my solution. So, you think as more and more people, as that customer base gets larger and larger, this becomes a more and more vital place to have solutions, to have your services be seen by customers. For ISV, it's the destination to market line of business applications that are focused on the Dynamics 365 platform. But resellers have two opportunities there. One is if you are technical and you start to have some bits and you want to package that IP into, a kind of an ISV-like solution, you have that opportunity. But you can also list pure service offerings, workshops, POCs, for simpler things like BC, implementation plans around specific verticals and configuration. So there's opportunities for ISVs and resellers to get on AppSource and start to think about how that could be a central place, a central marketplace, if you will, for these products and services. And there we go. My slide was slowing down a little bit. And, as we talk about getting things on AppSource or just our own solutions, I want to introduce this concept of the IP staircase and how, this is something you need to evolve to, or as you're evolving to think about. It's how does my offer, how does what I'm bringing to market, how does my solution create more recurring value? How does it recurring revenue? Because that's really, that's the goal. It's cloud consumption, annuity revenue, and it starts, the bottom line is kind of that Office 365, and for most partners, it's the base of the pillar. I know a lot of folks we're talking to today are Dynamics partners, and you always think Dynamics first and then what's next. But as we talked about earlier, it's important of thinking about the entire intelligent cloud and the platform and where the differentiation and where the competitive advantage of BC is. It's in that integration with Microsoft Office and Microsoft Office 365. That, it's pervasive. It's so dominant in the marketplace that if you say, hey, you want to look at an accounting solution or an ERP solution, it works with your office and that your office tools. Your customers are already using it. It's a great way to get things started. So but it's not a lot of revenue, right? If that's all you're selling, you're out of business. Next up is then adding that, Microsoft Dynamics 365 revenue. It's certainly larger, but there's less users. But by bundling those together, if you get both of those, at least you're getting more revenue than you were before. Then you add on your annuity-based managed services, your ongoing support, and what else you can provide to customers, and how you can add value and add revenue and increase the size of your bundle, your solution. But where the real value comes, where the real differentiation comes, especially in kind of getting noticed and getting in the market and adding additional value to customers, is the functional or vertical solutions, and you can get a big hunk of additional revenue by using third-party apps that are AppSource ready, that are built for BC. But where the biggest value is, and the value that you actually control in terms of how to bill for that, is your own IP. That's the secret sauce. That's going to maximize your recurring revenue. So, when later on we'll be talking about solution development and how it fits, you want to get your solution that you're going to bring to market as high as possible based on your own resources and capabilities, how high you can get that on the IP staircase. So, kind of the best practices, the things that the partners that are winning at this is the differentiation. So we talked about that. Is what's special about me? What is special about that I can offer? What special knowledge and value do I add that's different than other people that I can put into a solution and bring to market? Microsoft calls it upsell and cross-sell. I keep referring to it as increasing the size of my solution or bundling. But what additional parts of the Microsoft platform can you bundle into your solution, which gives you two things. Not only does it give you increased revenue, but it gives you increased stickiness, because the more that a customer is embedded into the Microsoft cloud, the less they're going to start looking outside of it, right? Because you're adding a whole lot of value by leveraging that initial investment, that understanding, that common user interface. Customer lifecycle, and again, we get this data from Microsoft, we get this right from Microsoft, and I think a lot of this is more focused. The customer lifecycle is probably focused more closely on the infrastructure partners who don't have the business relationships that Dynamics partners need to do, but it's still something to really focus on. And if you are maintaining a lot of customer contact, that's great. You may have to increase it. You may have to digitize it and find a way to make it digital and more pervasive. But it's a key point to keep in mind. Talking about the subject matter expertise, and that's, I said, it's not just the bits and bytes. It's your domain expertise. It's the knowledge of the industry. It's what you bring to not only to your solution, but the value you add to your customer relationships. And sales and marketing efficiency, and that's where you have to get better. As you said, we're not going to get as good as Best Buy. We're never going to drive down costs that low. So what you need to do is make those improvements to reduce the cost of sales, service, sales and marketing service as well. I probably am kind of jumping to the next one at the same time, but it's all the same. Consistency, repeatability, and automation, and all of those things to reduce your base cost so that you're getting more margin and also being more competitive. So, great stuff. What do I have to do to get there? And to get into that, I'm going to introduce my comrade here, Scott May.
Well, thanks, Dave. Certainly a lot of great information and tons of things to think about, and we're just going to give you even more. So really what I'd like to do more is move into that, move to modern, action plan and start discussing that. So, the Cloud Solution Action Plan, it outlines the primary activities that you should consider while planning and building, a scalable cloud practice. And we'll go into those areas that, in that right-hand side in a little bit. But each organization starts its journey, really from a different starting point. We understand that. The Cloud Solution Action Plan is really designed to help reduce the common risks associated with building this repeatable cloud practice, if you will. And, as Dave's mentioning, developing a cloud solution practice is going to require, new thinking. It's going to require new business skills, new resources, and certainly, new ideas. So, for some partners, structuring, the practice as a new business unit versus basically just, adding a new product will help result in fewer mistakes and accelerated customer acquisition. So let's take a look at the primary activities of the journey at a high level. So as David mentioned, in order to make money in the cloud world, being just a horizontal ERP partner is going to be difficult at best. So you really need to begin your journey by identifying your market sweet spot or spots possibly. And these are areas in which you might have deep vertical industry knowledge and expertise within your existing client base, or maybe niche markets that you have specific IP solutions around. It could also be an ISV solution that you work with that serves an industry focus that you can take and run with and add value to, if you will. So, after identifying your sweet spot, you're going to have to really go through and quantify your addressable market, and its potential ROI before you go making, significant investments to go after it. You have to ask questions, is it large enough to serve and drive the demand you're going to need to be successful? Are there enough prospective clients in the region you want to serve? Or are you going to have to, do that nationwide in order to be successful? Is there enough value in the solution that prospective clients are going to want to pay for? So, if your ROI works out, then you have to look at the competitive landscape and the differentiators. Are there already a lot of established competitors that will make it difficult to penetrate the market? And what would your differentiators be that would set you apart from the competition? Or will you just be a Me Too solution as well is something that you have to think about. Then, beyond that, you'll need to identify, what we refer to as demand drivers in the market. Is it a growth industry, that's fueling the change? Are most prospects in, that market on an older legacy system, and, they're going to have to change to move off of that? Or is it an industry that's still, kind of predominantly manual, and there's a lot of opportunity for change to increase, productivity? So you'll need to make sure there are forces that are going to be driving, prospects in this market to make a change. So after that, you'll need to definitely define and understand what your value proposition is, to the market and to these clients. Why are they going to want to work with you versus the competition? What's your value add? Is it the IP solution that you bring to the table? As Dave said, it doesn't necessarily have to be just that. Or is it, the level of industry understanding and experience, you and your team have? Is it your people and processes within the industry that are going to, set you apart? Or a combination of all of those? Your value proposition has to be clear and concise, to the market. It's why prospects are going to work with you, and want to pay that additional value add, for your solutions and services. So once you've completed this step, you've got to move on to, the building a product development plan. Is your IP already productized? Is it available on AppSource that we spoke about and on top of D365 Business Central? Or is it a solution that you're going to need to further develop to get it to that point? And if it is, you have to decide if, the development's something that you want to do internally, or maybe work with an external partner that can help get you there. Additionally, beyond the Dynamics 365 ready-to-go workshops that we'll talk about, we do also offer an AppSource workshop for partners and ISVs to help them, plan for this. And I'll touch upon that later in today's presentation. But then you also need to identify, what is called the attached or bundled services, for your market-focused solution. These can be prepackaged implementation services, or specific industry configuration processes that you do that set you apart from the competition from the market. You also have to figure out how you want to price it. It's a new world. Are you going to go through and sell it, as upfront services as you have in the past? Are you going to make it part of the monthly ongoing fee? And are you going to go through and include support as part of that monthly fee as well? So those are all things that you're going to have to think about, make decisions on, and put into your plan. So after all of that, you need to build the economic case for going after this market. How many clients are you going to have to close each month? what's the average number of seats each client is going to need, and the average services consumed, in order for it to be profitable. Also, what are the add-on solutions, as David mentioned in that, IP staircase, that you'll need to sell along with it, such as Progressus, for PSA, or Office 365, Microsoft 365, Power BI, or other workloads, basically, that can be moved into Azure Cloud along with it. So there's certainly a lot to think about along this journey. So we would really recommend breaking the activities into 5 key focus areas. And the first area is business management. And this area is responsible for making and communicating, the organizational commitment to develop an industry, vertical, or workload-oriented cloud solution. Ideally, it's one that includes a broad and differentiating Microsoft solution set, that we've been talking about. The next focus area is, the cloud solution development. And this person or persons, they must assemble a cross-functional team to define their market cloud solution set. The solution set should include, the minimum functionality required to address, one or more of your target customers' significant business challenges. That's what's going to drive prospect engagement, accelerate your sales cycle, and help you consistently have high win rates. So cloud solutions that address business processes, that span multiple Microsoft Cloud practice areas, actually drive differentiation and by default, help you get higher margins. So for an example, Microsoft solution set for professional service organizations, that might include Business Central for Finance, Progressus for PSA, Project Accounting, Office 365, Power BI. The solution set should include, the Microsoft Cloud stack, that will benefit the client's entire business ecosystem. And that's what we have to continue to expand and think about. Then you'll need to move into building a marketing focus. And I'm sure Dave would agree with this, but cloud practices require a constant and predictable flow of inbound leads. You're basically going to go through and need to have a marketing motion. If you have one, it will likely require significant adjustments. As today inbound traffic, effectively drives a higher volume of leads, but they're lower value typically. So marketing will need to develop, a content calendar and asset inventory to continually drive that. Also, nurturing early stage leads and tracking their responses is going to be critical to, driving higher conversion rates, selecting and implementing a marketing automation system to manage that, volume of interactions, is highly recommended, if you don't have one already. And we can certainly help you with that and make recommendations. So certainly along with marketing, your sales optimization has to be focused. Just like your marketing motion, required adjustments to become repeatable and scalable, so too, will your sales process. And it'll require dedicated sales professionals, on a higher volume of transactions. So, you'll have to resist the temptation to assign repeatable cloud opportunities to solution sales professionals, who are typically responsible for large, complex, project-based opportunities. Hybrid roles in this cloud world simply, don't work. So you'll need to source, cloud sales candidates from within your target industry or segment that have, domain knowledge, or target recent college university graduates with a couple years of business experience to get going with that. Then you'll have to focus on evolving your services delivery as well. Like everything in the brave new cloud world, the way you deliver services is going to have to change. Repeatable cloud solutions are pre-configured to address very specific industry business challenges. Therefore, most of your deployment projects, should be very similar, which, is really contrary to historical time and materials-based implementations. Most cloud solutions are going to be going through, and they'll be, delivered via fixed fee projects with defined number of hours or days. And again, as a result, deployment resources, basically must, adopt a prescriptive approach, to really limit that out-of-scope configuration changes. And then you have to develop a robust library of, on-domain training materials that are going to limit, post-deployment support requirements. So, we're throwing a lot at you, and you're probably saying to yourself, wow, that's a lot that, to focus on. Where do I even go through and get started? So, we would go through and recommend the following 4 steps to really get started. And the first is, that business management is going to have to make the decisions as to what industry, vertical, or workload-oriented solution to go after. They'll need to, commit to creating a goal, a specific timeline, and then start by sharing that vision with the rest of the focus groups. Second, you'll need to identify a champion, to take the lead and be a project business sponsor, and he'll be responsible for developing, the business case and executing the project plan and organizational change initiative, while working closely with all of the other focus leads that, we identified. Then, the owners of each of the focus areas, you're going to need to take some time to think about who the best would be for that, and identify them and select them. And then fourth, after the focus area leads have been identified, meetings should be scheduled along with all the other key stakeholders to review the goals and timelines that have been developed, and to get everyone's buy-in before moving forward. So now let's go and review some of the business management action plan section as part of this ready-to-go workshop. So as you can see, the business management action plans, we start to break this down into 30, 60, and 90-day time increments, with specific objectives to be completed, in each of those. So, within the first 30 days, you're going to need to select an industry or vertical workload focus. You want to review your existing client base, for customer concentration in specific industries, or look at, IP solutions that you've developed to find that sweet spot, and confirm there's a sufficient market opportunity to really go after. You also want to develop a cloud practice economic model within the first 30 days. This will include things like, a document of the assumptions that you're making. What are the capital investments that you'll have to make? What resources are going to be needed, and, revenue projections required to develop a successful, business case for the market that you want to go after. Then within 60 days, you're going to need to move forward and develop a cloud practice business plan, which includes solution development, marketing infrastructure, sales resources, costs, pricing strategy, and, what do your client win rates need to be in order to be successful. After that, you need to go out and recruit a marketing leader. If required, you may have to hire a marketing professional or work with a partner that can help you drive that cloud solution demand that we're talking about. In addition, you'll also need to, design a cloud compensation plan. And, that's going to be different, and it's going to need to be based upon a balanced cloud consumption-based plan of revenue and also customer acquisition targets. Then within the first 90 days, basically, you're going to have to define what we call a partner-to-partner growth of scale opportunities. Discuss these with your partner about partnering on these opportunities together, and also make sure you get them out onto AppSource and Azure, and of course, your own marketplace. So there's certainly a lot to do just in the business management focus area within the first 90 days. However, that's only one of the focus areas that we go through in the workshop. So, Dave, would you like to take them through the cloud solution development and marketing action plans?
Absolutely. So, it's kind of identifying, it's kind of the overview, certainly went through a lot of it. I think of this more as the things that you're going to do at those milestones, right? So within that first 30 days, you want to have defined the service and the technical elements that are going to go into your solution. You review options, develop this now, what can be sourced from potential partners, and what needs to be developed, and what investments you need to make to get there. When you get to the 60-day point, you will need to have clearly defined the scope, capabilities, and the benefits of your solution, how you're going to package it, and you'll need to define your initial pricing strategy. And then kind of within that 90 days, that's when you review where you are, what your staffing requirements now are around this. You may need to source talent based on the complexity of that solution and the size of the customer acquisition goals to get where you want to meet your financial targets. The marketing action plan then, is these two very much go together. You need very strong alignment between your solution development and marketing action plans, because the findings from each are going to strongly impact the other. Within the first 30 days, you'll be researching and documenting the market and the market opportunity for the solution. And you also want to document the business drivers and the KPIs and the critical business processes which that solution has to address, and you want to share that back with, or we all be working together to the solution development team to make sure that all of that is baked in. Within 60 days, then you're going to take a lot of what's in the solution now, and that's going to help you to define that content strategy and what's going to go into that content. And that's about attracting prospects to the very top of the funnel folks. And also, what comes out of that product development is going to help define what are the calls to action and proof activities that need to be compelling enough to get those people who are interested to then convert and convert into leads versus prospects. The move to marketing framework, as it's documented, introduces the idea of trials for this call to action, because trials are considered a best practice in the online world. And but that may or may not be the right one for you. But it's important to know that AppSource requires some kind of trial for solutions with bits, not for the pure service solutions. So we've created some of these trials, and we're learning and getting better at devising them and how to publish them and how to follow up on them. So it's a learning process, I think, for everybody in our channel to see how to leverage trials. But you need a proof strategy in any case, and then within 90 days, you're going to need to have your systems in place to support that marketing. So certainly targeted landing page with content to drive traffic to, if not, a big hunk of your website. And yeah, as Scott reminded before, marketing automation tool is recommended. You need to push content out. You need to capture and nurture conversions into leads. You need to manage databases. So, as a Dynamics partner, you may have internal use rights for Dynamics CRM, and there's the new marketing capabilities there. There are other third-party ones that are easier to use, require less configuration. And at bare minimum, Microsoft is providing something called Project Odo, which for base solutions and with some level of customization, you might be able to leverage as kind of a starter for people who are new to marketing and marketing automation. So that's once you market and start creating leads, you actually have to start selling stuff. Unfortunately, Scott knows how to do that.
Yeah, and I know we're working with our partners on that build marketing motion as well. So, yeah, the sales action plan slide, again, just really you need to focus, and first you're going to have to really optimize your cloud sales process down to a 3, 4, or 5-step sales motion. Remember, this can't be like the old ERP sales motion. It's got to be streamlined, efficient, and developed, with the new buyer persona, in mind and how they want to purchase things. So you'll need to define your, target prospect profile, qualification criteria based, upon, the market that you're going to go after. You're going to have to, define the attributes and the conditions for your, cloud repeatable prospect, profile to ensure, that your leads are identified and routed to the appropriate, sales resource, or they go into, a nurture pool that you use that marketing automation tool to stay in front of. And it has to be scalable, to get your sales process to, a volume level. And that's, within the first 30 days. So, in 60 days, you're going to need to identify, and source and onboard cloud sales professionals. Again, this could be internal candidates, external candidates. However, since the profile, again, is radically different from the traditional ERC salesperson, it's a low probability that you'll probably fill that internally. And remember, this should be someone with the industry, vertical expertise or knowledge, or, a recent, college grad that can be trained. So you'll need to configure, sales assets for your cloud offer as well. You can take and modify the Microsoft Cloud SureStep sales process templates and assets that are available to reflect your industry focus, or you can work with a partner like us that, could assist you with that. And then within 90 days, you're going to need to design, what we refer to as buy-in demonstration scenarios. You'll need 4 to 6 high-impact demonstration scenarios that are going to immediately and emotionally resonate, with your target prospect profile, and be able to be delivered quickly and easily, by that new sales professional, typically on the first call to get them hooked. Then you'll need to develop a comprehensive solution demonstration. Gone are the days, though, where you're going to go through and create a custom demo for each opportunity. This is a prescriptive 60-minute solution demo focused specifically on your target prospects, primary industry change or pain drivers. These are not general, show me the software anymore demos for sure. So now that you've got the revised sales process down, you're also going to have to figure out your, delivery service action plan. Because buyers are looking at different ways to consume services nowadays. They want something that's predictable cost. They want lower risk. They want, specifically defined prepackaged service offerings. And some will want less and some will want more options. So in the first 30 days, you're going to need to identify those service offerings that support your cloud offer. You'll need to identify the selection, project managed, and optimized services, that are really going to help you drive that incremental, business value of consumption. And then you're going to have to identify, a source, through either internally or a partner dedicated, with a cloud repeatable implementation resources. Since these are industry-focused implementations, all are similar in nature, and, the expensive problem solver resources, they aren't, again, real well suited for a repeatable process. So as in the revised sales process, junior resources, typically with a lower cost base, are much more efficient and control, scope containment. Then within 60 days, you're going to need to go through and define a streamlined cloud solution implementation process and make sure it's repeatable, and find out ways to automate it with tools, just like marketing automation. For example, software isn't installed anymore. It's provisioned and automated, via, our system and our marketplace. So those are things that you need to think about in order to improve efficiencies. Then within 90 days, you want to have developed on-domain training assets. You should really have a library of training assets that vary from video, webcasts, tutorials, and these can be used to reduce post-deployment support requirements and certainly help accelerate, client adoptions. They could be bundled into the monthly costs, sold as part of the customer support package, or sold individually, depending upon what, kind of prepackaged, service the client purchases. So, at a high level, that's the move to modern workshop. We certainly go into a lot more detail working with partners and peeling back that onion in each of those areas. So now let's talk a little bit about some of the Microsoft self-resources, that are available to you. The first of those, which hopefully all of you know now, is the Dynamics Learning Portal is now free to all partners. But it does require partner source access, and certainly the Stratus Cloud Alliance can, help provide that for you. It's continually being updated with more and more content on Dynamics 365 solutions such as Business Central, Finance and Operations, CRM. It's certainly easy to use and navigate and build custom learning plans with. It has videos, webcasts, tutorials, and certainly also, exam prep capabilities, to help your team continue to, develop its skills. And Dave, I know, there's certainly a lot of learning, but I know that there's a lot of marketing resources as well. So can you just touch upon that quickly?
Absolutely. So first, there's a lot of content, a lot of tools in DLP itself. So if you go to the Dynamics Learning Portal, Dynamics 365 Business Central section, you'll get a whole lot of stuff. But to kind of help you in doing that move to modern, Microsoft has now provided a new online resource, the Microsoft Smart Partner Marketing Portal. This requires MPN membership for some of the assets. Actually, some of the assets are public, and historically, Microsoft has not provided great marketing tools. I've been in the channel a long time. I've rarely been impressed with the things that they have provided, and this would be an enormous exception and change, and I hope this is the direction they're going. As you know, if you look at the navigation up top, you've got build a foundation, amplify your presence, and strengthen relationship. Build a foundation is a marketing 101, but totally focused on this cloud solution. So all of the things that we talked about in the building marketing motion section, and a lot of the non-financial aspects and the non-technical aspects of the solution development area, you can find here in terms of building your value prop, identifying your differentiators, better defining yourself, telling your story, creating a web page, basic web page, creating basic content. It's all there in the Build Your Foundation. So anything you need to do to get through the 30, 60, 90 is really in that first section. And as you mature, as your solution matures, as you mature as a cloud selling and marketing organization, Amplify Your Presence has a lot more in terms of improving content, being more prescriptive about content, mapping your customer journey, and better understanding your customer journey. So you can think about that as almost all the tools you need on Marketing 201. And then strengthen relationships is taking things to an even further level. So as there's tools for every level of companies' marketing sophistication and requirement, and even sophistication. I mean, I have to go when we start a new go to market, I go right back to the Build a Foundation and go through, my own tools or tools that I've historically done to do the differentiating things. So we go back and do 101 all the time. I just know how to do it. Here's a way and the tools to go and do that for every time you create a new solution. So this is a great resource. I can't recommend it more, and I was really excited to share this with our partners. So I think now, Scott, we talked about these self-service tools, and there are other self-service tools as well. We just kind of picked the top ones, the most focused on Business Central. But the big opportunity that we want to share with everybody on the call today are our ready-to-go workshops, and Scott is now going to tell you all about them.
Yeah, so, again, we've touched upon kind of the topics that will be going into much more detail in those workshops, but, the ready-to-go workshop is a Dynamics 365, Business Central Partner Enablement Program, funded by Microsoft, delivered by Stratos Cloud Alliance, and for a limited time, free to partners. Through our affiliation with Velosio, we are exclusively authorized by Microsoft to deliver this program, providing resellers with the knowledge and resources they need and an action plan they can execute to get a jump on the competition and seize the ever-growing Business Central opportunity. So the Ready to Go workshop program will actually match you with experienced business mentors that each have over 30 years of experience launching, marketing, selling Microsoft business applications. The engagement includes 3 sessions where your mentor will assess your readiness, align you with Microsoft resources, identify possible challenges and risks, and provide tools that we're talking about to help you build your go-to-market plan and simplify your journey to Dynamics 365 Business Central success. Microsoft is investing in partner success, providing resources and guidance for the development of the program. But even better, Microsoft is providing funding to cover the entire cost of the program, for the first wave of our Stratos Cloud Alliance partners. So we'll be doing, 2 types of workshops with our partners. We'll be doing a one-to-many type of workshop. The one-to-many workshop will be done in group sessions remotely with partners, covering in more detail and peeling back that, onion of the topics that we discussed, in this presentation. Then we'll also be going through and doing one-to-one workshops for our Stratos Cloud Alliance resellers. And again, the one-to-one workshops are specifically just that, working directly with the experienced business mentors in a one-to-one fashion And, we'll go through those, engagement sessions, one-to-one with your mentor, where they'll assess the readiness and align, resources and identify challenges and provide tools. So, we'll be doing that, over the remainder of this quarter. And again, those one-to-one workshops are also funded by Microsoft and free to participate in for Stratos Cloud Alliance partners. So, in addition to that, as I mentioned earlier, we also offer what's called the App Shop Ready to Go workshop. And that's really something, again, for partners who are looking to get their, IP productized and into AppSource, or basically ISV solutions that want to get into AppSource and on top of, D365. So, everything that we talked about in the D365 Ready to Go workshop process is similar to the process that we walk through with partners who want to get their solutions into AppSource. So if you're interested in that information, we certainly help out on that side too, and provide you links to that information and get you connected with the right folks for those workshops. And they're also being funded through us, by Microsoft as well, depending upon the situation. So, Dave, that really, wraps things up for me. So, I'll turn it back over for our Q&A now, and just wanted to thank everyone for attending.
All right. I can see the first three questions. If there are any questions beyond that, Jason, can you see them?
So I see about 3 questions right now.
Okay, so I'll go with these 3. Scott, are these workshops virtual or in person?
All of the workshops at this point, Dave, are going to be virtual workshops, whether it's one-to-many or even the one-to-one at this point.
Okay, and I'll take this one because I do the AppSource stuff. Are there competency requirements to publish on AppSource? And the answer is no, there are no competency requirements to publish on AppSource, but there are a lot of requirements to publish on AppSource. So whether you're whether a service or it's an ISV solution, there are a number of requirements around the number and quality of marketing assets, including video and brochure and links and all of that. If it is if it is technical IP and there are bits involved, then there's a fairly rigorous review process for the technology itself, and even more requirements around assets, and especially that ability to deliver some kind of trial. And trial is kind of squishy in this case, but there are more requirements there. So no competency, but it's not it is not an insignificant effort.
And Dave, that's what really the AppSource Ready to Go workshop can help partners and ISVs to understand as well.
Exactly, as it's actually staffed by folks who, when I say it's not insignificant, it was more significant and more difficult when things first launched. And these are people who launched some of the first applications on AppSource and have really been through the pain and can really streamline it for new partners. Another one I've got here is how many people in my company can be included in the workshop. I guess that's what they mean. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can go through and have as many people involved as needed, but, what we would certainly suggest is that each of those focus areas that we went through, somebody would be identified in that focus area and participate in the workshop, because, they're going to have specific next steps and homework to do and things to, complete. So, there wouldn't be a need for multiple people, most likely, from each organization to be involved in the workshop.
All right.
Any other questions?
So, Dave, I am seeing a question asking the best way to sign up for workshops.
So the best way is actually right there on the screen, and is to go to Dynamics365partner.com, Business Central Partner Workshop, or you can email either one of us, and we'll get you hooked up. Scott's probably the best for that. So you can either email Scott or head to our website and sign up.
All right. I do see one other question here. I'm not sure if it showed up for you. Just asking about what it means in terms of Microsoft funding of workshops that you mentioned.
Well, the funding of the workshop, basically, to put it together, to go through and use the resources and the materials and everything else, Microsoft is, working with us to provide that no cost, to the partners who are part of our Stratos Cloud Alliance, partner program. So, there is a cost to running these workshops, to developing all of the assets and resources, and, typically something of this nature. There's usually a cost for a type of workshop of this caliber, and that's what Microsoft is helping out in funding that for us to run.
One follow-up question here. Can only Stratos partners attend the workshops?
Yes, that is the design, is that basically we are running these for our Stratos Cloud Alliance, partners.
But there's no cost to becoming a Stratos Cloud Alliance partner.
Correct, Dave. And if you have questions about that, I can certainly go through and help. You can email me directly, or if you complete the Partner Business Central Workshop form, I will be the one following up with you to discuss that.
Yep. Or you can go to the Dynamics365partner.com, learn about SCA, and sign up right there.
All right. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions, so I think we can begin wrapping up.
Great. Just wanted to thank everybody again for attending.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today, and this was a lot of fun for me.
All right. Well, thank you, Dave and Scott, for leading this. Thanks to everyone in the audience for your attention, your questions today, much appreciated. As I mentioned earlier, we have recorded this. We'll be reaching out to you with details on that soon. With that, we are going to conclude today's event. Have a great day, everybody.